Yo guys, welcome back to another video. I hope we're all doing well. So today's video we're going to be talking about why you need to travel the world. So a lot of people just tend to stay in like the one place for their whole life, whether that be like their hometown or they just come through like job reasons, family reasons. They decide to just like stay in the same place their whole life, and maybe they go away like a couple of times a year. But they often just seem to go to kind of the same type of places, whether that be somewhere like Spain, Greece, somewhere they know like quite well. This is like very common, particularly for people who probably like settle down early, get their kids, etc., etc., start a family. For some people, like they're happy with that type of lifestyle. That's fair enough if that's what makes them happy. Like we all know, everyone has kind of different things that will make them happy. But I think for a lot of people out there, that they do truly desire to kind of see a lot more what is out there. And I think it's a real shame for people to kind of grow old and not really see what the world has to offer. Like for me, I'm only young and I've only had like a limited amount of experience when it comes to travel and like even just life experience. But like some of the places I've seen in the world have kind of like just changed my perspective on life. But for like a lot of my time, I was kind of, my dad had this place in Menorca, Spain. He still does have that now. So like every summer, every kind of school holidays, especially like Easter, summer, May, October, all of these holidays, we would be going there. And I kind of got to a point where I was like, like not to sound like ungrateful, but I was kind of just bored of going. I had done it so many times. Obviously, like it's a massive privilege to have like a holiday home abroad. I know a lot of people don't have this, so it was great. But obviously, I had been there so many times, and I was just like, I just knew that there was so much out there. There was so many places that I just saw. I'd be like, oh, that'd be so cool to go, and I just feel like, oh, I just want to go to those places. And it's only kind of been like over the last 18 months, 2 years or so. Obviously, we've had like all the COVID rubbish, and then had like personal issues that I've kind of had to deal with that have prevented me from kind of traveling as much as I would like to. Um, but I've kind of started to go see some new places now. Um, like I said, it was frustrating, but like it's just one of those things, and you kind of once you kind of like sort yourself out and get a bit older, you can kind of do a bit more on your own and like less with your family and go to the places that you actually would like to go to. Like over the last like year, 18 months, I've been to places. I've been to Cannes, I've been to Rome, Budapest, and I went to South Africa, which was for me the one that completely just like opened my eyes, and it just really taught me a lot about like life and just um yeah, I just really like learned a lot. For me, like the culture, the people, the weather, like the nature, wildlife, just the beauty and just peace of being there. When we stayed in like the national park, so there was just like animals surrounded by us like all the time. And it was just like nowhere I'd ever been like before. Like I'd never been to anywhere like that. A lot of the places we've been to before would just be kind of just for like the weather really. And like I say, we went to Spain for a large portion of my childhood. But yeah, South Africa was like so different, and like I just feel like I learned a lot. With the people there were just like they had nothing, but they were just so grateful, and every day they were just so like happy with just what they had. Like family and religion is like big over there. Like they're really like big on their family. It means so much to them. And I've mentioned this on previous videos with religion too, that it just hasn't, it's just not the same anymore. And that's why I think we see so much breakdown with like family dynamics and stuff. um, and you can see just like how much it means to them over there. And like I say, they have nothing. Like all of the people in like the West and stuff, they have all these material possessions, and that's what we kind of been brainwashed and programmed to think makes us happy. But when I went over there, that was kind of like a big wake up and realizing like, oh shit, like this, that doesn't make you happy. These people are happy. These people, you can tell they're like truly happy. They're not putting on a front. Like you can really tell when someone's like genuinely happy. And like even if something went wrong and stuff, they would just, it didn't really affect them at all. They had such a like base level of happiness. and I'd never really seen that before, and I just thought like to myself, like, I don't really realize how lucky I am, and going somewhere like that, it just like completely like opened my eyes, and I'm very grateful for that experience, and it's somewhere like I would recommend going to somewhere like that for anyone, just kind of going to a country where it's like beautiful, where it has like really good genuine people, and you can kind of see like what truly like makes you happy, because I think a lot of people don't understand that, and yeah, they think a lot of things it's just like bought by material possessions and this and that. Yeah, I learned a lot about happiness. A lot of people may say like, oh yeah, you're like really privileged to be able to go to places like this, and yeah, for sure, I would say I would agree with that. But like it doesn't have to be as expensive. It doesn't have to cost thousands and thousands of pounds. Yes, you've got your flights to go somewhere like South Africa would be pretty expensive. Yeah, maybe like £800 return, I guess 700, depends what time of year you could kind of go from, and where you're flying from too. But like I say, it's as expensive as you make it. Everything is like, you don't need to make it expensive. Like, when I always think like how much people just spend on just pointless shit, like just going out in the same places like every single weekend. You just think if you save that up for maybe a couple of months, stop going out, stop buying shit you don't need, like clothes, materialistic possessions, you could easily have like this experience. Like, it wouldn't take you long whatsoever, but a lot of people just don't really think like this, and they people like, I went on a party holiday in the summer, and I was there like 5 days, and just that alone was like £1,000, and it was shit. Like, experiences like this, they're with you for life, like memories and all of this. Like, it's kind of like life changing and stuff I'll never forget. Whereas like a holiday to where I went like Zante for 5 nights, like I thought it was absolutely shit. Probably because I've like had experiences like South Africa, like Rome. I've been to Egypt. I've been to like really like good places, like places that are genuinely like interesting to see. There's stuff to do there. Whereas like a party place, like it's just the same shit. It's just like being in UK with nice weather, I guess. It's nice somewhat, I guess, but yeah, it's kind of like, it really doesn't have to be like that expensive at all. So I think that's kind of like just an excuse for a lot of people to kind of, I don't know, do what they truly want to do. If that's partying, whatever, then they can do that. But like that, I don't think that's true travel. Obviously, the title of this video is "You Need to Travel the World." But I'm not saying to go to those type of places at all. I don't consider that real traveling. Where also like, I see a lot of people after uni, they'll go to like Asia, they'll go to Thailand and do all of that type of stuff. Which, yeah, that's all good, but it is basically just like another form of uni. I just think of it as like uni abroad. They're kind of just carrying on, um, living how they were at uni. Like, the places they're staying are just like, to be honest, yeah, they're just shitholes, aren't they? Like, they're just going out partying. They're not really like, yeah, they'll see some sights, I guess, etc. But they probably won't like really learn that much. They'll just be the same people. They're with the same people, just people from the UK. They're not really learning that much about culture and stuff, I don't think. I don't really consider that like real traveling too. Like I say, it doesn't have to be expensive, especially when you go to some of these countries that are like third world countries that are not well off at all. Like, it's not expensive at all to just get some accommodation. And like I say, whatever you make of it is like how much it will cost. And when you kind of go with like family, like when I went to South Africa, like it was just special. It was just special to be there with them and make those memories that will last a lifetime for me, and stuff that I'll never forget. You want to be like doing it with people that truly like mean something to you, and you'll look back and be like, oh, that was just like a special and like beautiful time. So I think that's another like really important part, instead of just like going on your own. Like, you can do that. Don't think there's anything wrong with that, but for me personally, I probably wouldn't really want to like travel on my own. I think obviously, yeah, you can meet new people, but I think if you kind of have someone there to go with, and who's like really close, and you really like doing the same type of things, that would be far better off doing that. And obviously another thing I do deeply encourage, so you can kind of facilitate this lifestyle of just traveling the world, is to find work or career, whatever it is, where you can just work remotely. You can just kind of hop from place to place and be locationally free, which is something that is extremely underestimated. I don't think you don't have to have your own business. There's a lot of jobs that will employ you to just work remotely, so that's good. You can be wherever you are in the world. Obviously, it'd be better if you can have your own business, because then you don't have to be working a certain amount of hours a week, etc. You don't have to be logged on to your device and people like monitoring you. Maybe that you want to be kind of like doing it whenever you feel like it. We're not. I don't mean to like say like just you completely like fall off or anything like that. Like, but kind of when works around your lifestyle, which is definitely still possible for being an employee. But ideally, if you have your own business where you can passively, leveragely earn income, where you don't really have to do much, you kind of just like the term kind of like watering your own plants, I guess. Create like a money tree, as MJ DeMarco taught me. So you kind of just like check up on that do a few hours on that every week, and it's kind of like you want to have something where you can do it when it suits kind of around your like lifestyle. And obviously, ideally, yeah, if you kind of have the systems in place, then that's great. You can kind of just monitor it every week, just go on for a few hours and do whatever you need to do, just update stuff, etc., etc. Over the next few years, for me, when it comes to traveling, I will be doing a lot more traveling. The more I can grow like my business and this YouTube channel, the more I'll be able to like facilitate doing that, and my coaching, etc. So I'm obviously trying to grow that as much as possible, so that I can literally be wherever I am, wherever I want to be in the world, and doing that. Like that's kind of how I've like tried to set up my life. I've tried to make it so that I can be like locationally and time free, and then eventually financially free. They're the three like massive elements that I'm working towards, and I would encourage everyone, especially if you're young and ambitious like me, to do the same. So yeah, I definitely see that's how my future is going. But yeah, we'll see. The more I can just keep pushing and putting in the work while I'm in the UK, and I'm a bit restricted to how much I can travel at the moment for personal reasons. I will just continue to put in the work until eventually things ease up a bit and I can kind of be wherever I want. Like even my job that I do now is a 0 hours like employment, so I can kind of I do that when that suits around me. I've made sure like I've set up that part of my life too, so I'm not tied into being somewhere at a certain time. I can kind of do as much or as little as I want, depending on the availability of work. And I think that is really good. I don't like when it comes to like going away, I don't have to be like, oh like boss, can I have this days off, please? Can I actually go and do something that I want to do? Like I just don't have to do that. I just wouldn't. For me, I could never go back to a job like that where I have to ask someone if I can go on holiday or go travel. Like, no, I just don't think that's the way forward. And there's so many ways out there where you can be your own boss, work for someone where you can do as much, little as works possible, find ways to passively earn income. There's just so many ways that you can make this possible, where you can be wherever you are in the world. But yeah, like I say, kind of back to the main point in the video, like traveling, I think it is so important in your growth when it's like done properly, seeing like all the corners of the world. I think everyone should, by the time they've grown old, they want to see, like, I think you should really be like seeing everywhere to see what you kind of like where you want to kind of like set up your life. Like a lot of people, all they know is like the UK and maybe a couple of places that they've been to. They don't know what's Africa like, what's Asia like, what's South America like all these different places. And these are just continents, and then you've got all the countries inside of these places too, like the Caribbean. That might be for you. Also, when it comes to like women and stuff, that you might like those type of women who like Asian women, Arabian women. Like, you don't know Caribbean, Latinas. You just don't really know if you've not really experienced these places. The cultures are just like a lot different to they are, say, in the UK, the US. And you're never really going to know what you truly like. You're going to say, oh yeah, I like these, but you might not actually know them personally. Like I always used to say, oh yeah, like I like Swedish girls. Yeah, I like the appearance of them, but they might not be like right for me. I might not like their personalities. I might not like the way they live their lives. Um, so yeah, I think that's a big thing. And when it comes to like networking too, that's really important. The more you travel, the more you can like meet people and be like, oh, if I need a place to stay, I know this guy in like Italy. I know this guy who's in Dubai. I know this guy in like Australia. The more networking you have across the world, the easier it gets. And if you just need to stay somewhere for a few days, you can just like drop that guy like a DM and say, oh, like, hey, I'm coming over. Could I stay? Yeah, of course. And all of this, it just makes things a lot easier for you. So yeah, that's kind of, I think that's like a massive part of it, like just networking too. And I've mentioned like the cost of living and stuff, like when I was in like South Africa, which is definitely somewhere I'm really considering as having like a base there in the future. I just really like it. I think obviously I hear a lot of people say about the safety, but you get that anywhere, I think, in the world, especially if you look somewhere like London where no one really raises that eyebrow for you, like, oh, I'm going to go live in London, I'm going to go work in London. No one really says anything, but yet the safety there's knife crime is like higher than ever. So obviously, yes, you get the safety concern when you go to some of these countries that are like really beautiful, like South Africa. But you're gonna get that everywhere. You kind of just have to learn, hopefully meet people there who kind of know a bit more than you. And I think if you kind of just like, there's a lot of ways you can kind of deal with it and just avoid those type of places. And the more you kind of know, the better, obviously, and do your research. It's all very important, but yeah, I definitely see that as like kind of a base as where I'd want to have a home. And I think, yeah, if you can kind of have these bases across the world, then the better it is, and the easier it is to kind of network with people, and the more opportunities will probably arise for you, I think. So this is kind of why I think everyone, especially when they're young, should and definitely should just travel the world, see what's out there as much as possible, because there's a lot that you don't know and you've never seen, and you'll never really know what is right for you, what you do like and what you don't like, if you're just staying in your hometown your whole life, and try and set up your life so it is possible that you can kind of be wherever you are in the world and just hop from place to place. I think that's really important too. And in this era, it's kind of never been easier to live that kind of nomadic lifestyle, I guess. So yeah, I hope this video has kind of encouraged you to kind of want to travel the world as much as possible, see new places, see new people, see new cultures, and you do more of that going forward. It should definitely something that really excites me. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Take care. If you like, share, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.